Hello, Knicks family. Welcome to the Queen's Court. As always, I got a lot to say. I'm joined today by Tony from Knicks and Bruises. I've just got off his show, so he's with me today again. And Divine is in the building from Knicks Real Talk. Started on MBK. I met him on MBK. And he's on the show today, so I'm excited about that. I started to call him Mr. Java. Every time I'm with him and BX Jetty, I get more pumped up about the Knicks. So he's with us today, and he'll talk to you a little bit more about his show and when you can catch it. I'm a panelist on that show as well, just like I'm a panelist on Knicks and Bruises, just trying to support, the MBK fam. Today we're going to recap Summer League. We're going to talk about the Knicks offense. Now that we have Kemba and Fournier, what can we expect offensively from the Knicks? And then the last thing, the schedule came out, but we're going to do something a little different. We're going to talk about how we match up roster-wise with two Eastern Conference teams. We played them 4 times, what we think our record would be against them and why. It's going to be a great show. So let me welcome in Tony and Divine, and let's get this started. Hello, fellas. How are you?
Queen, thanks for having me back.
Of course. Divine, how you doing?
I'm good. Just excited to be here. Finally got to get on the show with you. Welcome back to the family, man. Salute to everybody out there. Glad to be back on with you guys, man. MBK all day. You already know what it is, man. I'm excited, man, to be on with your sister. Like I said, we started the journey down at MBK about a year ago, and
we did.
And the maturation has been wonderful. I'm so happy for you. I'm happy to see the progress and all the maturation in the process. So I'm ready to go, man. You already Knicks and Bruises. You already know what it is, man. Much love to that brother there. You know how we get down. So I'm excited, man. So salute to everybody out there, man. Get ready to join this dope show. We're gonna get it popping up in here. Let's go, man. I'm ready.
Okay. We missed that energy, bro.
For sure. I'm telling you, Tony, when I go in that show, they have me thinking the Knicks winning the championship. Like, you come on, you be a little down, be like, man, the Knicks didn't play well, something didn't happen. You get with him and BX Jetty. Afterwards, you be like, you know what? I'm underestimating the Knicks. We going all the way.
At the 8 years of purgatory, I guess it got me hyped like that, man. At the 8 years of those struggles, man, I guess like, man, it feels good to see us back in the fold like that. So I guess that's where all that energy comes from, seeing us having a good year, man. I was so impressed with that. That's what had me so hyped this year, for sure.
Right. Well, before we even get into the Summer League, let's start with that. All of us have been following the Knicks for a very long time. Last year, I think for many of us, it was a surprise. So just talk about your expectations going into the season, or what you're most excited about going into next season.
For me, Tone,
either one. Yeah, you can start.
Okay, yeah, for me, coming out for the past season, 41-31, having that year that we had, and then the way Summer League went down, the draft went down, free agency went down, I'm more optimistic about everything. I think that's what really kicked the ball off for me this year, bringing Scott Perry back, keeping that continuity there in the organization that he well deserved. And then, just overall, just the way the summer went. I told them this summer all together. They made some good moves together, so I was happy about that, guys. And just to keep the salary manageable for the next couple of years. We had some good drafts. It was just a good summer overall for me, Steph and Tone. They set up well for the future as well. And man, they kind of something amazing. So I think overall, coming off that 41-31 season, to come back into the semi-off season, let's say, they had to get the good draft picks that we got, and keep that continuity together. So when we come out of the gate this year, we don't have to worry about these guys gonna have to jail and all that. They pretty much know how they play. They know what Thibodeau expect coming out the gates. Now they got to learn the coach. They already know when they walk in training camp. They already know what Thibodeau want to do. So I think it's gonna make it easy. So that's what I was excited about for this year so far, believe it or not.
Yeah,
Hey,
Tone.
Divine made some great points about that. Them knowing what to expect from the coach. We brought a lot of guys back. To me, this off season was like really about rewarding success. You know what I mean? They started off with bringing back Perry. A lot of us didn't expect that. We was talking about that a year ago, that he's gonna find some new adventure to take on, and we rewarded him for success. Julius Randle extension, we rewarded him for success. We brought back the Derrick Rose, Burks, Noels. We rewarded success, and to me that's a big thing for just the culture of the Knicks. You know what I mean? Like even if God forbid it don't work out exactly how we want it, it's showing the league like, yo, we take care of our own. You come here and you perform and you work your butt off, you're gonna reap the benefits. So that's my biggest takeaway.
Yeah, I mean, I think you make a good point, and I think some have argued that the Knicks may have overpaid the players some, but I think that probably was part of it for the Knicks, just wanting to reward those guys who came in on 1-year contracts and pretty much outperformed them, and wanting to pay them well and not slight them at all, so to speak. So I'm happy, I'm happy with that. I'm happy the way the team came together. I had my issues, with the process, but we're here, and I'm really excited going into this season. This is probably the most excited I've been, because last year, even though I was happy with Tibbs and I wanted Tibbs, I still didn't think the Knicks would win 40-something games. I still said 25 because the roster didn't change that much. So I wasn't really expecting a lot. So I didn't come into last year with a lot of expectations. So I'm really pumped up for this season, and to see where it goes. And I know people get on me for my Kemba take, but I will say this, and like I said, if Kemba is healthy at the start of free agency, I would have took him over any point guard that was on the free agent market. That's how much I like him. That's how much I think he's a fit. That's how much I love his game. And if he's healthy, it's a wrap. Now, at that press conference, they said he was playing back to back. Now I don't know. Tibbs gonna say that anyway. But if they got good medical knowledge that he can play back to backs, then it's gonna be a problem. And so I'm really excited about that possibility. But Summer League recap. We got that opportunity. I don't think I've ever been excited to see Summer League like I was this year as well. I felt like the Knicks nailed the draft. There's times when I said, man, maybe we should have made that pick at number 19, just looking at all the talent that was there. But even what we got at 25, at 36, at 58, I mean, you can't complain. You just can't complain about that. And all three of them played very well in the Summer League. So I got two questions. The first one is, who impressed you the most in Summer League? Devon?
I definitely got to say McBride for me. He's like a modern day, to me, Greg Anthony, but with a better jump shot. Pound on the defense. 6'2" with a 6'8", 6'9" wingspan. But the kick. I was impressed how he shoot the three ball from the top of the key, which is the furthest spot.
I think the mic.
I'm sorry. Can you hear me?
Now it is, but sometimes it goes in and out.
Okay, let me turn it up. I'm sorry, I apologize for that. But yeah, I was impressed with his game. But I would definitely have to say Bride. This was the Walt Perrin effect to me. This Summer League with the Walt Perrin effect. He came in here as the Knicks scout, and he really went in there. Scouted them guys real well with the rest of the scouting department. But I love McBride, and Sims he just a beast. So I was happy with it. Overall. I even like Rokos. I think he in a couple of years he'd be able to come over here and play in New York eventually. Right. But I was
yeah, I don't think it's the volume of your mic. It just freezes and it goes in and out.
Well, I let Tone go because I'm not freezing on here, and then I can chime back in. Tone.
Okay. Okay.
Summer League in general, or we're just speaking rookies?
No, it doesn't matter who impressed you the most on the summer league team. It could be a second-year player.
Obi definitely impressed me.
The
I mean,
most.
he did. He did.
He did.
Yeah, he definitely did. But I didn't. I definitely I came into summer league with the intent of watching Obi and watching quickly. To be honest, not saying I didn't care about the rookies, but it's a point I've made before. I think this is the first time in probably I don't know how long, maybe since the '90s, that I'm not expecting much from our rookies. Our rookies can be rookies. They can grow into their roles. They can grow into who they're going to be. We're not depending on them to be some type of savior. At this point, I want them to play. Obviously, I want them to develop. I want to see them. But if they spent more time in the G League than in the big league, it wouldn't. I don't think it would affect our team, and that is a good thing. You know what I mean? Like we've never been there before. But yeah, Obi impressed me the most. His aggression. I think he knows what he has to do this year, whether it's 8 minutes or 15 minutes. I think we're gonna see a different Obi.
Yeah, for sure. I guess I would go with McBride, but I would say that I was also impressed with Quickly as well. I think, it's not easy when you can shoot and you have and you can take the ball in and you can score around the basket. It's not easy to balance scoring and playmaking, right? That's not easy. For playmaking point guards, it's easy because you're looking for other people first. But when you think about the John Walls and the Dames and the Currys and the Kyries, like those guys who can score, it's a balance, trying to figure out when do I score and go for mine and when do I playmake. And I think that that's something that's going to take him some time because he's not a pass first point guard, but I don't really see that as a knock on him. And some people say he's not a point guard at all. I still say it remains to be seen. It remains to be seen. I don't think it's his second year in the league. I don't think we can just look at him after one season and say this guy will never play the point guard position or never be good at it, right? There's not a lot of pass first point guards anyway. A lot of the point guards in the league are score first point guards. And so it's just a matter of learning when to score and when to pass, and that does take some time. So when I saw him that first game in summer league, I was like, yeah, this is not working. But as time went on, I really saw him get better and better, at looking for people, setting them up for shots. He got better at it. Now, his shot selection is not great, but I think that's, for me, when I look at Quickly, I think that's because of his confidence. He just believes he can make that shot. Right. He just believes he could pull up from 4-point land, whatever that is, with still 18 seconds left on the clock, because I think he believes that he can make that shot. So I think it's a confidence thing. I don't think it's that he doesn't know, you shouldn't be taking a shot in that situation. I think he feels like I can make it. That's how confident he is in himself. So I was really impressed with Quickly as the season went on. I know the second game he had, people say, oh, he played better because he had 34 points. I mean, the only difference between game one and game two was that the shots was falling in game two, right? But as time went on, I thought his playmaking got better. And I know people would disagree, but I would feel more comfortable if Rose and Kemba went down and they couldn't play a game or, a few games in a row. I would feel more comfortable with Quickly than McBride, only because McBride is a rookie and Quickly at least went through a full season. Now, don't get me wrong, that doesn't mean he can't perform, right? Rookies surprise us all the time, right? So I was impressed, I would have to say, with him. And I was impressed with McBride too. I mean, this guy, like Divine said, just to piggyback on what he said, that jumper was money. It was just water. It seemed like he never missed a shot. It seemed like every shot he took, he made it off the dribble. His playmaking was okay. He probably have to get better in that regard, but his defense was he picked those guys up 90 feet. So I'm really excited about him, but I probably would say I was most impressed with Quick.
Yeah,
Hey, Steph,
Yeah.
I agree.
What you say?
No, I'll talk. Go ahead.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I was equally as impressed with McBride as well. And back to the point I made earlier, how cool is it? Because I feel like, as impressed as we were with him, that he's probably the least likely of the three to see the minutes, see the floor. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like if you're looking at the situation, even with our fragile point guards, you know what I mean? We still have Quick, we still have Mendoza, we still have the point guard by committee. Whereas, if God forbid we lose Mitch again, I see Sims getting minutes. You know what I mean? I even see him getting minutes over Taj, and that's simply because Taj, one, can play more than one position, and two, Taj exhausted himself, so he can't. I don't want to rely on him, especially early in the season, to play heavy minutes. And then Grimes, I think if there's any position that we're light at, it's probably the wings still. You know what I mean? So I see him getting minutes before McBride, but I was equally as impressed with him as well. Again, good problems to have.
Yeah, for sure.
What impressed me about him was in one game he had like 6 3-pointers in a row, something like that in that game. The next game he went over, but he bounced back the game after that and dropped 5 or 6. So it showed me that, I'm not going to let a bad game affect me. I had an off game that night. The next game he came back and he was just dropping dimes all over the place. I'm like, okay, that's a that dude is confident in his ability, what he could do. Because sometimes, you can go over and next thing you just let the wall hit you, and next thing you're just going to keep hitting. But the guy bounced back, man. He just kept shooting it. He's an impressive young man. I really think he fit the culture that we have there. And Tibbs would look at this cat Tibbs was eyeing this cat for a minute. So, and then for him to be under a coach like Huggins, he came under a coach like Tibbs, Virginia, being coached by Huggins. And that, how hard that dude is. He's just a hard-nosed coach. So he kind of fit the situation well for New York because the coach where he came from was just like Tibbs, just hard-nosed dudes, man. They get in your face, scream at you, everything. And I just don't think the bright light's going to affect him at all. So it was a good pickup.
Oh, he froze up.
Yeah.
Again, I'm sorry, guys.
No, it's good. I see you. I think one of the things I'm liking about the Knicks is they operating differently on a lot of levels. And one of them is on the draft, they were looking for specific type of players. Miami does that. San Antonio does that. We're not going to pick up somebody that we don't think fits our culture or fit what we're trying to do. And I just see the Knicks, first of all, having a culture and doubling down. Like, we know who we are now. Right. And these are the guys we're going after in free agency. And these are the guys that we're going after in the draft. Like, you think about Oubre, I wasn't that high on just because of, his inconsistent shooting. But I could see how, we could have easily went after Oubre. Like, the Knicks are at the point now where they know who they are and they look at the front office, and they looking for something specific players that's going to come in and fit. And that's a good thing to see after just so many years of just changing directions year after year after year.
Yeah, facts.
Yeah. All right. So lastly, on the summer league, for the three rookies, what do you project their ceilings to be? As far as, do you see them as eventual starters, career backup role players, situational players? If you had to project their career trajectory, what would you say?
That's a good one. I would say definitely get it, Tone, because it's your turn. I'm sorry.
I don't think any one of them is a surefire starter, but I think all three of them could be great, 10-year vets. You know what I mean? Like not even necessarily. I mean, journeyman is not really on the player to me. I think a lot of times that's based off of just being traded. But yeah, I think 10-year vets. You know what I mean? Good careers, good solid careers. If any one of them, I think had. If you're asking like who has the highest ceiling and the potential to maybe break out of that, probably McBride. Probably McBride.
I second that, Tone. I think by the couple of years from now, he's gonna be special. 'Cause, I mean, he just got that it with him. You know what I mean? He got that it with him. That guy just coming, and he being that he come from a certain pedigree. He come from that. I'm sorry if I freeze up, guys. I don't know what's going on with this, but he's from that degree. I think he's gonna be special, man. I just love guys who got that it factor. I think he got.
Yeah, he froze again. I would say I think Grimes would probably. I see him as being a starter in this league. I think just the way he's able to defend that 2 position and the way he's able to shoot, I see him being a starter in this league. I see McBride potentially being that as well. I see him kind of starting out like what's the point guard on Dallas? Is it Brock? What's his name?
Brogdon?
No, on Dallas.
Oh,
Brunson. I was saying Brunson. I see him starting out like that. Brunson just being a real solid, backup guard with the potential to break out and, like Lowry did and have his and be a starter one day. And I see Sims mostly as a backup, though I would not be second team, though I wouldn't be surprised if he broke out. I wouldn't be surprised if he did. Yeah.
You know who Grimes reminds me of? I'll probably get killed for it because the whole PTSD thing. But he reminds me of Austin Rivers. I don't know why.
Oh my God.
Ultimately, I think he's gonna be better than Rivers.
Mm-hmm.
And part of the problem I think with Rivers was him being the coach's son and playing for his father for so long.
Mm-hmm.
I think had he not done that, I think he would have ultimately been a better player. So I think Grimes is going to ultimately be a better player. But just aesthetically, I think that's the word I'm looking for. The way he shoots and some of his movements, it gives me maybe I would say coach's son vibes. Like he grew up in a system of playing for like a dad and he's very I don't know, he just
like mechanical like
yes but not in a bad way, you know what I mean?
Right.
I think Houston had that too. Obviously Houston was a way better player than Rivers, you know what I mean, but he just gives me that vibe. But I think he's going to be way better than Rivers ultimately.
Yeah, I think so too. Once he got his feet wet in the summer league, the first few games, he played very well. He, I think they interviewed his coach or one of the commentators was talking about a conversation they had with the coach that this is different for him. He was, used to just being the main person on the team, taking the shots whenever he wanted to take the shots and just playing off the ball and just having to get accustomed to getting your shots in the flow of the offense when the ball comes to you. Right. So it seemed like by that third game, he seemed to be okay. And there were stretches when he brought the ball up as well. And he looked pretty good. Let me just give a shout out to the chat. Pudge Nice. Appreciate you. Braham 718. Sergeant Nicks. Appreciate you. Tricky Nickies. Good to meet you. Sherwin M. Deshaun. I hope I'm saying that right. Davis. It's me. Universal Master, all of you, New York, New York. There's no chat, there's no content creators without you. Those that are in the chat, those that are listening to us while you're driving, while you're cleaning up, it's because you guys are hungry for Nick content, that we can have 1,500 Nick content creators and still get views, right? Because of you guys. So we appreciate you. We appreciate you all. All right, let's talk about the Knicks offense now. If I remember correctly, last year we were ranked 4th in defense, and I think we were near the bottom in offensive efficiency. I want to say 22nd, right? A lot of our offense ran through Randall. Like, he was the best playmaker in terms of setting players up for their shots. Everything went through Randall. Now we're adding Kemba. Now we're adding Fournier. Both guys who can shoot and play off of Randall, but they can also play, make, and initiate the offense themselves. What do you think our offense is going to look like now with those guys?
Go first, Devon.
Okay, I think there's going to be a lot of ball movement now that you have a stable. No knock on Alpha Payton, but he's not Kemba Walker. You know what I mean? Or being able to make the defense keep them honest. You know what I mean? You can't back off of him. And so I think you're going to get a lot of ball swinging, and like always Tibbs said, if you open shoot it. And I do think that's pretty much going to be the staple of their offense. If they're going to swing that ball around, I mean, and they don't have to worry about letting the clock get down to 10 seconds, then give it to Randall, and then you don't have no other opportunity. I just think they're going to be all over the place with it. I really think it's going to be more efficient, because I do think that 1 and 3, they took care of the major parts of that offense with the 1 and the 3. I like Bullock, but Bullock is not Evan Fournier. He can't put the ball on the floor like Evan Fournier. Evan Fournier can stroke it just like Bullock can. So I think you're going to get more production on a consistent basis. Don't get me wrong, I love Reggie Bullock, but he might give you 2 points one night, 10 points the other night. Then he might, but Fournier is a career 17, 18 a game. You know what I mean? So you're going to get that 17, 18 a game consistently, opposed to maybe every other night, or and I just think Kemba Walker's Kemba Walker. So I do think our offense going to be much better with a better ball flow for sure.
Yeah, Tone.
Oh, shout out to Who's Mark. He said it is a knock on Peyton. He couldn't do it.
They ain't trying to kill him. They ain't trying to kill him on the Nick over the Nick, man.
I think sky's the limit. I think we should definitely be somewhere around 15 or better as far as our offensive rating. So if our defense could slide maybe no more than 4 percentage points, I'd be happy with that. Mm-hmm. But I think it should open up everything. We have people that can create from every position except the center, and I mean create for themselves and others.
Right.
Excuse me.
Another thing I would like to see is more pick and rolls with Randall as the roll man. Like, we never really did that. Like, Alfred did it, but it was more like a pick and pop. Rose would do it, where Randall would, pick them up, but it was more like a pick and pop. I think with Fournier and with Kemba initiating that pick and roll, Randall, now he can roll, to the basket, get the ball. Now he can look for shooters in the key. He can pull up for the mid-range in the key. And then those guys, now there's options depending on what the defense does. With Alfred, there wasn't really a lot of options off the pick and roll. But you got Kemba on the pick and roll, and Fournier can also run the pick and roll. You're going to have a lot of options. You go under the screen, Kemba can hit the 3. Fournier can hit the 3. You double team them, they could drop it off to Randall. Randall can look for his shot, but he can also, because he's used to playmaking, he can look for other people. So I hope we do that more this year, and if we do, I think that'll be successful for us. But also, if Randall, I don't know if they're gonna totally abort, Randall in the post looking for players. I don't think we need to do that every single time down the court now. But I think if they do it, Fournier, if I remember correctly, on that corner 3, I believe it was like 55% last year. And or in the year before, like 53%. So he get that corner shot, which is the same shot Bullock got.
Right.
He's going to hit it more. But not only that, if you rush out on him, he could put the ball on the floor now, and he could step in and either take the short pull up or pass it.
AC maybe.
Oh, I'm not sure. All right, it's good now. You know, and he would be able to get cutters, you know, off of that. So I think it's just going to open up so much for us. Are you guys okay? Well, one, do you think that our defense is going to drop a little? And if so, are you okay with that if the offense is much better?
Oh yeah, definitely. I'll sacrifice a little bit of defense to gain more offense, and that was our Achilles heel for that team last year. And yeah, I'm willing to go up a couple of percentage points. Like Tone said, if we drop down in defense but move up in offense, we can get our offense up in that top 15 percentile, and defense stay in the top 10. I'm good with that because I really believe that you could be a good defense ball club, but you still got to have a guy to put the ball in the bucket. So I do think that the Knicks that's the reason why I think they're going to be much better. And having Mitch back is going to be phenomenal. But I think now you got all these guys who can put that ball on the floor and get to that hole. And Mitch, you got four guys in that team literally could throw Mitch that ball when everybody try to pack that paint when they come in that middle. So I think the offense is going to be fine, man. I think we probably average 106, 107. I think we go up more in points per game. Because the reason why I say that, Alpha Payne was scoring 10 a game. Bullock was scoring 10 a game. Now, Kemba and Fournier are probably going to give you 15 to 17 a game apiece. That's regular on a regular basis. So I just think that the offense is going to go up a little bit more. Granted, everybody not going to be. I don't think RJ will do 20 because we got better players who can score more now. And I think everybody's point might go down just a little bit. But for collectively, I think the team's going to do well in the first unit. I think Mitch going to have in the contract year with them guys that they brought in there. I think that offense is going to be special. But I just think that, like Tone said, all four of them got to put that ball on the floor and get to that paint. And that's impressive. But I don't. It's like you can't slack off nobody. I don't think. So I'm looking forward to our offense this year. I think they're gonna. I think that starting unit gonna at least do 75 to 80 points a game just on a offense in the first unit. Excuse me. In the starting unit alone, I think the Knicks can get 80 points a game easy.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. I think RJ is gonna have his most efficient year. I think he's gonna have easier shots, less contested shots than ever before, and I think he's gonna thrive at that. I think he might take less shots than previous two seasons. Might average either the same, maybe down a point or two, maybe up a point or two, but I think it's gonna be way less shot attempts and just efficient scoring. I think his free throw, going to the line, those attempts are going to go up. And yeah, I think our offense is going to be fine. I think the defense will dip, but I don't think it's going to dip as much as some of the critics may say.
Right.
I think Kemba, his lack of defense is really based off his size, but it's not based off his effort. It's not based off his IQ. And then the fact that, he's led the league in charges before, I think that's an underrated aspect of his game. That's defense, though. I think he's good in passing lanes. His on-ball defense as well is good. And then Fournier, the same thing, IQ and effort. And then he plays passing lane. So there's aspects of his defense that he is borderline elite at. It's just neither one of them are lockdown guys. But being that Tibbs is our coach, I don't think we need lockdown guys. Defense is going to be the focal point of our team anyway. So I don't see it dipping more than 4 spots.
So we should still be in the top 10.
Yeah, 8. I think we're gonna be 8.
Okay. Shout out to Sherwin M, who said we are getting 2 points a game in Fournier over Bullock and a less than average defender. I mean, I think he's averaged more than 2. I'm not sure what Bullock averaged last year, but I think Fournier averaged like 17, 18. I don't think Bullock was at like 15, was he?
No, he's
Nope.
about 10.
Nope.
Yeah, maybe 10, 12. But this is the thing, though. It's not even the point.
Mhm.
Is how
Ability.
dynamic he is as a player that's going to open up more opportunities for other players. And then somebody else said that Fournier is a shooter slasher. He's not a corner player. He shot 55% from the corner in those corner threes. So, and our offense, if they don't change it too much, he's going to find himself in that position a lot, and he'll be more dynamic than Bullock because, again, he can step in. Bullock, if he didn't have the shot, he had to pass it back out. Fournier, if he doesn't have the shot, he could drive. He could pass off of that drive. So I think, he's a more dynamic player, so we're going to get more looks, off of him as well. So I'm encouraged about the defense as well. Let me ask this question. This was in one of the chats. I don't think it matters too much because I agree with Tony. We talked about this on Knicks and Bruises. This team reminds me of like the 2004 Detroit Pistons team where the offense was just kind of spread out. You knew Rip was the guy, but you couldn't say offensively. But somebody could say, yeah, but Chauncey, we need help. So you could point to any guy on that team and talk about how it would be hard to win without him. That being said, 1 through 5, or you can even go 3 if you don't want to go that deep. Who do you think the scorers are going to be on the Knicks? 1 through 5, or 1 through 3, whatever.
I'm gonna have to go with Julius Randle. Obviously, I think he's the main guy. I mean, Julius is the main guy. He's the engineer. But then I think it's Kemba, and I mean that's hard because I think all them cats could get it. I think RJ could get it. I think Fournier could get it. I just think it's going to be by committee, man. It's hard for me to say is it going to be Randall, RJ, or Fournier, or Randall. It's hard for me because I just think that whoever got Kemba get the ball at the top. He initiate the offense, and if he open, he take it. If not, he facilitate it, and he can go to anybody. So to me, I'm just going to have to go Randall. I'm just gonna do RJ because I think they're the two guys that the mainstay. I think they're to be the captain and the co-captains. I'm gonna say Randall, RJ, and I'm gonna have to go with Kemba Walker. I just got to say because he's the point guard. He got that ball in his hand more than Fournier and all them guys, I guess. So I'm gonna go Randall, RJ, and Kemba Walker.
Okay, Corny. Okay.
That's tough.
Yeah.
I mean, I think everything that you guys said, you figure, let's say Julius averages 20, right? Let's just say 20. That's low, but we'll say Julius averaged 20. If we get 15 apiece from RJ, Fournier, and Kemba, that's 65 right there. And another 10, and these are I'm projecting low right now. I'm not even
right.
I think all of them will surpass 20, 15, 15, and 15. So but again, I think it's gonna be committee. I think on any given night it's gonna be a different leading scorer. I think you won't know until the end of the season because I think it's going to be that close with a lot of our guys averaging somewhere in that 17 to 22 to, I think Randall is number one. He probably maxes out at 25, 26. You know what I mean? But after that, any one of those guys could potentially give you something from 20 to, to upwards numbers. So a beautiful thing to have.
It is. I think Fournier is going to be the second leading scorer behind Randall. And with Kemba, it depends. If this is Charlotte Kemba, I think he's going to be right up there with Randall. They're going to be scoring pretty much about the same. But, if we're managing his minutes and he's taking, games off is not going to affect his average. I'm going to say Randall, Fournier, maybe even RJ and then Kemba. I think Kemba's probably going to be fourth. And then somebody said, Marvin Smith said, don't forget about D Rose when he coming off, because he averaged like what, 15 for us, like 14 point something. Yeah, I think you're right. I do agree that on any given night, that second leading scorer can be anybody. But I do think at the end of the season, I think probably Fournier would probably be second. But like you said, Tony, that is a good problem to have.
Absolutely.
I mean, quickly could come off the bench and give you a 30-point game real quick.
Oh, no doubt.
and be
No doubt.
the leading or second leading scorer that night. You know what I mean? Like Burks might have a 20-point quarter and end up with 35 for the game.
Yeah. It's definitely a good problem to have, and I think, you know, the way they constructed this roster, I think, you know, how we performed in the playoffs had a lot to do with it. Just really wanting to diversify offensively, so you can't key off of Randall. You're gonna have to pick your poison. So this team, if it gels, the sky, you know, the sky's the limit, actually. Somebody said it depends on the offense Tibbs is running. I mean, I would think that with all of the offensive players we have, that the offense is going to look vastly different.
Absolutely.
I would think so. Now, I don't know about our pace. You know, is our pace going to improve? I don't know. I think we're probably. You think so? You think we're going to run more
with the ball in Kemba's hand? Like he's going to the basket first, or at the very least, those leak outs. He's looking for those. Like, I think our pace improves tremendously. And he, you think Derrick Rose made Obi look good? Give Kemba some minutes with a guy like Obi. Give Kemba some minutes with Mitch running the floor, where he's really getting into the teeth of the defense, but knows how to dish off. You know what I mean?
Right.
Knows how to actually. Like, my intent is to get to the rim so I could get Mitch this open dunk. Like, you know, again, I don't know, I don't want to bash Peyton, but he was getting to the basket and he was trying to score. You know what I mean? That was his intent. Kemba will literally, you think he's going to score, but his whole intention is to get this guy a look. And, you know what I mean? So I think our pace definitely increases. I think our 3-point attempt goes up as well.
Oh, no doubt about it. Shout out to, who's that? Cosmic Wave Rider at Pudge Nice. I hear that many fans do rate, or maybe he meant hate D Rose, but he hardly comes up in discussions on schemes as if he is non-existent. D Rose is a number 3 on any playoff team. I mean, you do make a good point. I think when I was doing it, you're right. I was kind of focusing on starting, you know, on the starters, but yeah, because when you look at our team, right there, D Rose was right there, you know, in the top 5 in terms of our scoring coming off the bench. So we got a poll up. Who is the number 1? Julius Randle, Kemba Walker, Evan Fournier, Derrick Rose. So those in the chat. Let's see what you think. But yeah, you're right. I think I didn't think about Derrick Rose. Yeah, I mean, yeah, anybody on this team, basically.
Him and Alex Burks, I think him and Alex Burks going to be the main guys in that second unit. Whereas, let's say if it's a projection of Kemba Walker do start, Derrick Rose and Alex Burks will be a problem against a lot of cats in the NBA on the second units. Because I mean, Derrick Rose is a problem against anybody in the first or second unit. I mean, with his experience, but him and Alex Burks can get buckets. I mean, them cats just straight get buckets. So I think that, you know, I'm excited for it because I think RJ don't have no more pressure. With Fournier and Kemba coming in, the pressure. The pressure goes down to RJ now at a third-year player, which he works hard. He gets better. I think he's gonna have he's gonna have a better year, and I think the pressure's off from now because you got somebody like Kemba Walker and Fournier in there. So, man, the Knicks offense, like you said, I don't see no ceiling. I don't see a ceiling for sure.
Can I ask you guys a question?
Absolutely.
Do you think there's a reason why Bullock wasn't brought back, and do you think? Because me personally, I would have thought, and then with the additions, even more so, I would have thought they try to hold on to Bullock over Burks, and I only say that because that's the one thing we're lacking. You know what I mean? That's the one question mark we have, and I'm a little concerned with Burke playing the three kind of full time now. You know what I mean? Like, and his whole defensively. So it's kind of a 3-part question. Like, are you concerned with Burke's playing the three more? Because I don't think he's going to be needed with those point guard duties as much as last year. And then, what do you think the reason is they went with Bullock over Burks?
I think it was more about Fournier. I think it was more about we got Fournier who kind of does what Bullock does better because he's more dynamic. So if you have a replacement for Bullock, then who would you rather have coming off the bench? Probably rather have somebody who can score. That's a good question, because now that I'm thinking about it, it wouldn't have been a bad idea to have
Bullock
off the bench as a 3-and-D guy, being that we have so much offense. But they could have took into consideration injuries, like what if Rose goes down, what if
multi-dimensional
Kemba goes down. We got to have somebody in that second unit that can get buckets, because that was an issue that the Knicks had last year. So that could have been into their thought process. What you think, Devon?
Yeah, I definitely think it had a lot to do with scoring. He was 22nd in the league last year, ranked. We just needed more offense power. And Burks can get buckets. Something the kid just can get buckets. And I do think that in this contract, I think as a player, I think you can move him just as quick as you can move, even maybe faster than Bullock in a trade scenario. I think you can move Alec Burks. A team would love to have a scorer like him in the playoffs or something like that of that nature. And I just think 3-and-Ds they come a dime a dozen. But a cat who can get shots like like Alex Burks, it's not too many of them, like the Lou Williams of the world and guys like that. So I do think I think it had a lot to do with because we were ranked so low in the offense. We needed a guy, we needed to uplift our offense. I think that's the reason why they made that decision. And I don't think it's a bad decision, because I really believe that guys like Grimes, now that I see what McBride could do, he's a defense ball player. So he can do what Reggie Bullock could do. Minus he's only a point guard, but still he can do the 3-and-D thing basically. So I think there was more about the offense to me. I think it really was about the offense, and I think if you'd have put Reggie Bullock in that second unit right now, say if you had Reggie Bullock instead of Alex Burks, let's just say if Derrick Rose didn't have a good game, who's gonna be the man? Who's gonna be that dude in that second unit? You have to depend on quickly in his second year, Obi in his second year, Nerlens Noel. So I can see why they brought Alex Burks back, just from an offense standpoint anyway.
Right.
No, right. I definitely, it just, like, prior to, if I had to make a bet prior to the offseason, I would have guessed that they upgraded offensively and moved Bullock to the bench. I'm not questioning the decision as of now, because if you ask me, I'm like, there's something they must have seen. You know what I mean? Like in whether it's in Bullock's limitations or maybe feeling like the system helped. Granted, he's always been known as a defender. I think this might have been one of his best defensive years, at least as far as my eyes. I didn't know he was that good until we were playing without him.
Right.
For those couple of games, and then we could tell what we missed.
Right.
But they'll know more than us.
Right. Who's Mark? I guess he was a Bullock fan. I say this: Bullock defense set the tone for us, no doubt about it. He did. I mean, he took the toughest wing assignments, for us, and now I guess that's going to fall to RJ, or maybe Fournier. I don't think Fournier is a terrible defender, but I just think Bullock was a better defender than him. So that's going to be interesting who that falls to.
Hey, Steph, real quick on the bullet thing too. I also think when we got to the playoffs, when them jump shots not falling, he don't got no game. You know what I mean? And I think that's a major reason why they kept Alex Burks opposed to Bullet, because what happened to with us against Atlanta, when them jump shots not falling, game over. It just game over. And I think Alex Burks can't get in there and put the ball in the hole and got the little floaters and get to the bucket. And I think that's another reason Tibbs pilot that in the organization, not only Tibbs, but like, you know what? We need to score it, not just a jump shooter. We need to score it. And I think that's probably one of the reasons also why they probably kept Alex Burks over Reggie Bullock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if Tibbs, the defensive guy, is saying, I'll sacrifice some defense for offense, I'm not arguing with him.
Right.
Because he got the schemes.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah. All right. Let's move into the next segment. I want to do something a little different. The schedule came out. And I know there's been a lot of shows on breaking down the total schedule. But what I want to do is I think about 4 weeks until training camp. So each week I want to compare our roster against one or two other Eastern Conference rosters, and then talk about how many games we have against them this season and what we think our record is going to be. So I started with Atlanta and Miami because us three had the same, I think it was pretty much the same record last year. And I think it was tiebreakers that had a lot to do with the seeding 4 through 6. And we'll do Philly and we'll do Milwaukee. But I want to bring up those rosters because the Knicks improved, but these other teams improved as well. Right? So Atlanta added DeLon. Was it DeLon?
DeLon Wright.
Yeah, DeLon Wright, because they needed a backup point guard, right? They were running Lou Williams out there at backup. Their center is hurt. I think he has shoulder surgery. And so they brought in, what's his name? Gorgie Dang. Look at you, Devon. Appreciate it. Mm-hmm. Right. Exactly. So, and then Miami obviously brought in Kyle Lowry, brought in PJ Tucker from Milwaukee, brought in Markieff Morrison, and all of those guys fit their culture from a defensive and offensive standpoint. But let's go with let's talk about Atlanta. I think we played them 3 times last year, and I believe we beat them all 3 times. And we played them 4. What was it?
3-0.
Yeah, right. And we were 3-0. Obviously, we all know we lost to them 4-1 in the playoffs. And they drafted well too, right? They got Jalen Johnson at number 20, dropped to them at number 20. Sharif Cooper dropped to them at 48. I'm not sure how much those guys are gonna play. But looking at our roster, looking at Atlanta's roster, we're gonna play them 4 times this year. Who's winning that season series?
I got us winning again. If we play them 3 times, I'm gonna say 2 out of 3.
We play them 4.
Then I'm gonna give us 3 out of 4.
Wow.
I think the biggest. There was a couple of things that troubled us against them, but number one is if you're not making Trae Young play defense, and he can exert all his energy on offense, it's gonna be tough to beat them. I think he. No, not because I love Bullock, but we don't have a Bullock in our starting lineup that Trae can rest on. You know what I mean? And I think that's going to be the biggest difference maker. Because even with Trae playing well, he gets tired. He ends up taking bad shots at times. I think we could wear them out with this roster. There's no slacking on offense now. On defense for them. You know what I mean? They relied heavily on Capella to just protect the rim. They doubled Randall, and they dared anybody else to beat us. Obviously, that was in the playoffs. But I think we still have their number in the regular season, and if we get them in the playoffs, I think we're gonna have their number this year.
So you said 3-1?
3-1.
3-1.
And
Okay.
shout out to the Hawks fans that been trolling me on Knicks and Bruises in the comments. and y'all welcome to keep trolling, and y'all welcome to come on the show after we beat the Hawks.
Yeah. I second Tony's. I think it's just. I think the way we built right now, Trae Young gonna have to try to keep up with Kemba Walker too. Now he's gonna have to exert his energy on the defense end too, and he's not a good defender first of all. So having guys who just as quick as he is can make him work on the defense side gonna be a big plus to them. I think the coming back of Mitchell Robinson is gonna make a big difference.
Right.
I think Mitchell Robinson changed this whole thing around against these guys because, I mean, now, you got Mitchell Robinson going up against Ken Capella, and Mitchell Robinson can hold his own. And then you got Nerlens Noel who could take on whether it's Gorky Dane or Congo, whoever it may be. Now I think Mitchell Robinson emerges this year in a contract year, knowing that, what this cat could do. I've seen Mitchell Robinson do things on the basketball court that a lot of these cats in the NBA can't do. And I was watching this guy recently, he had a Bleacher Report, had a clip of all the Mitchell Robinson stuff. You show when he gets Atlanta Hawks, where he came up to the three and stopped at Trae Young, and Trae Young tried to throw it into the paint. Mitchell Robinson had got back in time, but they couldn't get it to him. So Trae Young went to pull up for a three-point shot. Mitchell Robinson blocked it. Noel can't do that. There's not a lot of guys in the NBA can come back. I think Mitchell Robinson is going to be a difference maker in this series. I do think with Fournier, and he can give you what Hurd can give you. I think Kemba can give you what Trae Young can give you, and the Julius Randle can give you more than John Collins. And I just think RJ can give you what, let's say whoever they said, DeAndre Hunter. I think I'll be Bob Andrews. I'm sorry. RJ can give you that too. But I think we got deeper and stronger. And I just think the Knicks get them 3-1 easy. I just think it's a different thing with the way, but bringing up Fournier and Kemba Walker and Mitchell Robinson back, them three guys the Knicks didn't have against the Hawks in the playoffs last year. And granted, don't get me wrong, I understand the Hawks, we beat them 3-0 in the regular season, but they didn't have Nate McMillan either. You know what I mean?
Right.
They had the other coach at that time. But Nate McMillan's a defense specialist. He know how to get down, but I just think the Knicks got a better team. If you ask me what we bought in compared to what they bought in, I think we brought in more firepower than we had against them last year. They didn't really bring in too much to me, other than Deion Wright and the rookies they signed and Gordy Dane because my man got hurt. But they didn't really upgrade their roster tremendously to me compared to what we did. So I really think the Knicks got a chance to really get them cats some business for sure, and at least 3-1 to me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Trae would play Kemba, but the thing about it is they wouldn't be able to hide Trae on anybody in that starting lineup. Like, who? Okay, you don't want him to play Kemba, so who you going to put him? You going to put him on Fournier? You going to put him on RJ? Like, who you going to? So I think that he's going to be able to work. And listen, I'm not quite sure there's anybody that's going to be able to stop him, Trae, from getting in the lane, because you got to think about it. These guys are getting picked off. It's not like one-on-one where you just say, for example, put McBride out there on Trae Young and that's it. That's not usually how it happens. Somebody is going to come pick McBride off, right? And so it has to be more of a team defense. I think that series between New York and Atlanta, those 4 games, and New York and Miami is must-see TV. I think we have the slot. Like somebody is saying that Atlanta's roster is deep. Let's put up our roster. Well, let's either one. You could put up Atlanta's roster or our roster where it's a bit more defined. And you'll see, you're right. Atlanta is deep at every position, too deep. So their bench is pretty strong compared to their starting lineup. And their situational players is pretty good too. So this is their second team. And they play very well for them, right? So Lou Williams is now going down to the 2. They lost Snell, right? Snell is no longer there. So DeLon Wright, Lou Williams, Kevin Huerter, he's coming off the bench. Danilo Gallinari, who played very well. Obi's defense is much better if we going at least off a summer league. So maybe he'll do a better job on Gallinari. And Okongwu, who's out with the shoulder injury right now. So Dieng will be in that. probably to start the season. So yeah, I mean they are deep, but put up the Knicks roster. We deep too.
Mhm.
Look at that.
Man.
Look at that bench right there. Derrick Rose, Quickly, Burks, Toppin, Noel. Now remember, Noel is pretty much a starter. He started most of the games. For I don't know about most of the games, but he started a good number of games for us with Mitchell out, and now he's moving to the second team.
That's
You
what I
know?
mean. Woo.
Yeah, and Obi Toppin looks better, but this is the thing with Obi. He don't have to do too much. He doesn't have to do too much. With all of that offense we have, on the bench, his rebounding got better. If Summer League is any indication, sometimes it doesn't translate, but hopefully it will. His rebounding was better. His defense was better out on the perimeter. I was really surprised at that, him being able to cut people off when they were driving. Now, obviously the talent, is going to be another level, up from summer league. But the Knicks team is as deep as any team in the NBA, as deep as any team in the NBA. And as a matter of fact, last week, Devon, we did where we thought the Knicks would finish in the Eastern Conference. And one of the reasons why I had them over Miami, and we're going to get to Miami's roster, was because of the bench. Was because of the bench. Like the Miami starters is very strong, don't get me wrong. But their bench, I don't think is as strong as ours, unless they just decide they're going to go 8 deep, So for all of those are saying, Atlanta's deep, bench is deep, it is. But the Knicks has a really deep roster as well. All right. So both of y'all say 3-1.
3-1.
Yeah, I think Derrick Rose on that bench. He this guy done been through all the battles he possibly be through in the NBA. He can, but I don't know if Atlanta is any. There's nobody on the Atlanta bench that's gonna scare Derrick Rose. Nobody. I mean, this cat went up against the best of the NBA. His mind is more sharper than a lot of other guys. And I think him and Alex Burks, that scoring, man. And I think you can't even count out Quickly, because Quickly can give you, remember Quickly came in there last year, give me 30-point games in his rookie year, here and there. But I think his emergence, him and Obi Toppin take that next step. I think the Knicks going to be a problem. I really do. I think that bench is pretty solidified right there. So, yeah, I got to go with Tone Crow on that one. 3-1. I'm going to go 3-1 because I just think that we got much better all around, man. Offensively, and we brought in better players for sure.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's talk about Miami now. Miami. I'm a big Pat Riley fan, so I mean, he's just a winner. Whether he was a coach, general manager, whatever, he's just a winner. Now, Victor Oladipo, I don't think is going to be ready for the season. I don't think for the beginning of the season. I'm not sure when he's coming back, right? So I feel like our bench is deeper than theirs in terms of production. Again, Oladipo is not going to be there. I'm not sure how long it's going to take for him to come back from that injury. But I will say this. Kyle Lowry, Jimmy Butler, PJ Tucker, those guys, Randall's going to have a hard time scoring. I'm not saying he's not going to score, but he's going to earn everything he gets. Jimmy Butler, whether he's on RJ or Fournier, they're going to earn everything they get. And with Kyle Lowry, depending on if Kemba is Kemba, he should be okay. But Lowry, he's a good defender, and we all know about Miami. Everybody comes in shape. Lowry might be skinny by the time we see him, with the season start. But what do you think? Comparing our roster with the Miami Heat roster, we played them 4 times. What do you think what do you think the record is going to be? Oh, I meant to ask this for Atlanta. Do you think we're going to finish ahead of Atlanta in the Eastern Conference standings or below Atlanta in the Eastern Conference standings?
We're gonna outdo them again. We're gonna be better than Atlanta. We're gonna be better than the Heat too.
Okay, so you got us 4.
Yeah. Now I will say this: 4 games against the Heat, we might be 2-2. We might blow them out twice though, and you know, have some tough losses, like close losses in the 2 losses. But I think we end up better than Miami as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I definitely think we be better than Atlanta. But that's probably the best starting defense in the league right there, other than Milwaukee Bucks. That starting five right there, the defense end is ridiculous. I mean, PJ Tucker, Jimmy Butler, them some wing defenders right there, man. Kyle Lowry, with the way he takes charges, he's a pesky hound dog. I mean, and Bam Adebayo, that's probably one of the better defensive teams in the league right there in the starting five for sure. Yeah, but I do think with Mitchell Robinson be a benefactor against them, because Bam Adebayo, I still think he's a power forward to me. I think Mitchell Robinson eat that team up in the front line. I mean, his athleticism and what he could do up in that front line, I think he'll make it hard on Bam Adebayo, actually. Bam Adebayo going to score 20, 30 on Mitchell Robinson just because of his height and his athleticism. But that's a strong team, man. They going to be there. I mean, Tyler Hero can get it. Even if Oladipo don't come back to the second half of the season and get in shape, you got Marquise Morris, them veteran guys. They all veterans. They savvy guys. They've been around the league a long time, other than Duncan Robinson and Tyler Hero. The rest of them cats been around a long time. They know how to play in the NBA. You know what I mean? And I think experience wins games when it comes down to the get down. And I think they're gonna be good. But I think we could. I think our offense and the way we play ball, and I think Mitchell Robinson being an X factor, I think we can go 2-2 like Tone Crow said. I got mine. He probably might be 3 or 4 though. I really think they might, depending on what Ben Simmons do. I think Miami can finish third in the East. I just think they got third or fourth. Maybe other than Milwaukee and after Milwaukee and Brooklyn, I think it's a toss up. I think Miami might go finish third. I think they got a good team down there, man, and they got a good coach too. I mean, so yeah, I would say we go 2-2 like Tone said. But I do think Miami might finish above us just because of that defense. I mean, them cats can lock it down, man. I mean, that's crazy right there.
Right. The only thing I would say is I think our bench is better. I think we're a deeper team. I think they may have a hard time scoring as well. They remind us of us last year.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah. Great minds. Where you have that that lockdown defense, but some difficulty scoring now. Now, they have better two-way players than we had. Like Kyle Lowry can defend and score. Duncan Robinson can score. Jimmy Butler, he gets his points. He's not really a shooter, but he gets his points. He could play defense. PJ Tucker can hit the 3. Bam will get his points as well. But when you look at that second, when you look at their bench, I just think our bench is better. I think that we're going to score more than them. I agree with you, Devon. That starting 5, that's a lockdown defensive starting 5. But I think that when that bench comes in, I think that's when we'll have the edge and we'll have that opportunity to make up whatever deficit we may have if we do have a deficit. Detman is not a scorer. I'm not familiar with KZ Opala. I'm not familiar with him. Oladipo is hurt, but what's the coach again? Spoelstra. He coming from that Pat Riley school. They may just go 8. They may not even go 10. They may go 8. That means more Jimmy Butler, more PJ Tucker, So
that matchup for me is a Marquise Morris against Obi. The Morris brothers is dogs, man. They could punk you out of a game. You know what I mean? Them cats could punk you out of a game, literally mess your head up. And I just think that Obi is a second-year player. Going up
Yeah.
against a cat like that, man, you know what I mean? I mean, this cat can mess your head up in that game because, I mean, he can hit that 3 ball too. So if OB defense is not on, Marquise Morris can cause a problem because he's, like I said, these are veteran dudes. I mean, I just think that these championship teams are built with a bunch of veterans, man. And these guys, other than Tyler Hero, and I don't know the other guy, KZ, but Oladipo and Marquise Morris, Dwayne Dedmon, they've been around a long time. They know the rigor mortis of the NBA. They know all the tricks of the trade, basically. And that's what my concern is, that with Obi and quickly being so young. And when you get into that playoff situation, that crunch time pressure thing, can you handle them cats right there? But I do think our team is, I think our team is better than theirs. I think we deeper than them. I think their experience is the one that concerns me the most. Basically.
Right. Actually, that's a good point. And now, go ahead, Tom.
No, I was gonna say I think they're built way more for the playoffs than for the regular season. I can see us and Atlanta having a better record than them at the end of the year.
Okay.
I think, like the Queen said, they're a mirror image of us last year. I think they're probably less of a offensive team than we were last year. And part of that is because of the benches, if you will. I mean, we had Rose coming off the bench for the majority of the year. You know what I mean? So even with Pitt and Lact, I think, I don't. They got to prove it to me. I think we finished better than them. I'm looking at that team. They can go on those same type of offensive scoring droughts that we did last year. I wouldn't be surprised if Duncan Robinson's their leading scorer.
Wow.
And I don't know how that fares. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if that is what they need.
Right. You know what? When you look at this lineup, who can get a shot? Lowry can get a shot if you need it. PJ Tucker, usually you have to create for him. Duncan Robinson, you have to create for him. Jimmy Butler can get a shot, but he's not somebody that, when he has the ball in his hand, like you fear that,
Right.
But he can get a bucket.
He wills it to go in.
He wills it in, right? right. So in terms of like who can Tyler Hero, like who can go and get a bucket on this team?
I think our offense in the start line our offensive starting team is way better than theirs offensively.
Right.
I'll tell you that right now. They offense front line, they offensive five, they starting five is not better than our starting five on the offense. I don't believe that in one bit. I just said they defense is pretty tough right there. You know what I mean? So, but I do think I think Julius Randle can give you. I don't think nobody in that starting lineup could do what Julius Randle could do with basketball. Not none of them five dudes could do what Julius Randle could do with basketball. So,
and I don't think Tucker could guard Randle, especially
in that
on the perimeter. Yeah, I mean, he might give him a little bit of the fits down in the paint, with his antics and things of that nature. But I mean, even down low, I think Randle will adjust and figure out like, this guy's too small for me. You know what I mean?
Right.
I like that Randle. I like that Randle Tucker matchup for us all day long. All day long.
Listen.
I'm more concerned.
I don't know.
With Tucker guarding Mitch in the post than I am with him guarding Randle all game long.
I don't know.
And I think Randle will probably be a better matchup defensively on Randle than PJ. PJ, he's elite, but not. I don't think he's elite overall defensively. I think he's elite at certain things, and most of that is in the paint, guarding in the paint. I'm not afraid of his perimeter defense on Randle.
I think RJ get Duncan Robinson nightmares, bro.
Right. Yeah, definitely. But they may put Jimmy, even with Butler, they're gonna have to choose. You're gonna put him on RJ, or you're gonna put him on Fournier.
Right, exactly. I think that's a good matchup. That's a good win for us. I think Mitchell Robinson changes the game on that though. I think Bam Adebayo nice, but Mitch 7 foot boy jumped the way he jumped. That boy, he I just think he had to be hard to shoot over that dude. I really believe that. I think he might be hard to shoot over to Robinson. So, I mean, I agree with Tony. I might have to kind of second that when it comes to our offense and where we might stand with them. But they got a good defensive team, man. So I give them that much. But I like our offense for sure in that starting five over them.
Yeah, and I like our bench. And I think that's the only reason why I saw the same thing you saw, Divine. When I looked at those starters, I'm like, it's going to be hard for us to score. But I said, our bench will probably be, what'll put us over, over the top. But shout out to Ricardo Custa, who says, guys, it's not only the roster. Let's see how Tibbs runs this offense with better players. I would like to see what is Tibbs' plan for this. I mean, that's a good point. I mean, we're going to find out, did we run the offense the way we ran it because that was the talent we had, or because that's just the offense Tibbs runs? So, I'm hoping that the offense is more dynamic now that we have more players and we're not running pretty much the same offense we ran last year. I would definitely be disappointed if we do.
Yeah, that's gonna be interesting, man. I can't wait for this team to start up. It is like crazy, bro. And they're gonna be crazy this year. Yeah, I think Miami. I think, like I said, I'm trying to piggyback off the Milwaukee Bucks, Drew Holiday, and them guys. I mean, they defense really won them that championship game. I mean, they
really did.
It really did, man. They defense, but I think when you get in those situations, you can lock a cat down because, if you could stop somebody, you got a good chance of winning. And that's the only reason I give these cats a good opportunity, because you think about it, Kyle Lowry been to a championship. PJ Tucker been to a championship. Jimmy Butler been close. You know what I mean? But I do agree with that bench thing, though. I think Nerlens Noel hold Devin down with no problem. I don't think Tyler Hero can touch Derrick Rose from a defense standpoint anyway. He ain't gonna be able to stop him. And I think, but without Oladipo, man, he'll quickly probably run. And I don't know what this KZ cat, Alex Burks can get buckets. So I do like our bench, man. I think we got one of the best ones in the league. But I might have to, Knicks look good. Now I'm looking at this roster here. You look pretty good against these dudes, man, for sure.
Yeah. I had us finishing ahead of Miami only because of the bench. But I figured that, our starters weren't going to score as much as we usually would playing Miami, but I felt like the bench would come in and get us over the top. Because you're right, those starters are suffocating. That defense is going to be suffocating. I know somebody in here said, why are we looking at Lowry like he's CP3? What did we watch last year? He was trash in Toronto. This is Jay. But people go to Miami to get reborn, and he wasn't even that bad in my opinion last year. And sometimes that Miami air, that culture, that training staff, a fresh outlook. You have an opportunity to be in the top 3 and be a championship contender. He's going to be ready.
Yeah.
But we also don't know how that Miami, I don't want to call it work ethic, let's say training regimen is going to affect Kyle Lowry's body at his age. It's one thing when you bringing in a prime Jimmy Butler or some of these guys in their prime. You know what I mean? I don't know if Lowry is built to lose 15 to 20 pounds in the off season and sustain an 82 game season at his age. You know what I mean? So that may be a interesting dynamic as far as Kyle. But I love him. I wanted him as well.
Right. I give Kyle a pass. I gave him a pass for this reason last year. Don't cats are playing in Tampa. That ain't Toronto. You know what I mean? Your home court. You know your rims. You know when you're in your own gym. You know every nook and cranny of that thing, man. I think them guys playing in Toronto, in Tampa last year, it wasn't the same for them compared to playing in Toronto. So, I give them a little bit of that because it's like you go down the road all year long. All your games on the road, you know what I mean? And it can
Divine, to take it even further, forget the games. You're not even going home after the game.
Right.
You know what I mean? You're not even going. Right. So sometimes a road game is one thing, but when you're going home, you getting that home cooked meal, you getting that mama loving it. You know what I mean? Like all that changes everything.
It changes everything. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Sam, nothing but Knicks. I think the training staff understands how to deal with older players. Yeah, I think they do, but I'm not sure if it was Tony or Divine who said, I think Miami is built for the playoffs. I wouldn't be surprised if they're not the top 3 in the regular season, but they just run through the playoffs. I wouldn't be surprised at all. I think they are going to rest players. They're going to sit players if they need it. But come playoff time, and you're not going to want to play Miami, yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna be tough. Hey, real quick, step. I think what I do like about our team this year, though, last year we was playing them guys, Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo, but we only had Julius Randle and RJ. You know what I mean?
Right.
They could key on them 2 guys. It's like, okay, we shut down Julius Randle, RJ. And now you can't do that. You know what I mean?
No.
Now, yeah, it's different. Now I think with Kemba Walker and Namba Fournier, now that defense got to be so honest that they,
Right.
I think it makes a big difference, man. Having 2 cats coming here at the 1 and the 3, man. So I do agree. Our offense eat that offense team up right there. I think this offense gonna be nice, man. I really like. I'm looking forward to that.
And you got to also keep in mind with Mitch back, that lob threat is going to create more space in the key as well, because you're not going to be able to step up. You're going to have to choose. If somebody gets in the lane, okay, you're going to step up and stop them, or you're going to stay back with Mitch, which is what the position Trae Young put us in, right? When he got into the lane, you're going to step up and stop him so that he could do the alley-oop, pass it to Capella, or you're going to stop Capella and give Trae Young the floater. It's going to be the same thing when we have Mitch back. Those same options.
And we talk about Kemba throwing that lob, not necessarily that other guy we had. That makes a big difference.
The Phoenix Sun guy.
Right. All right, we're about to get out of here. This is just a general question I have for you guys. Outside of the Knicks, which team or player are you rooting for or you want to see do well this upcoming season?
You know that. You already know. Stay mellow. I hate the Lakers, but outside of New York, that's who I'm rooting for this shit.
Hey man, great minds think alike. I want to see Melo get it, bro, for real. Carmelo Anthony, if the Knicks don't get to the championship and win, I hope Carmelo get that ring. I want to see him do it, man. I think he had a good couple of years in Portland, Tone, and I think that, he's that one guy I want to see do well in the NBA, man. I'm a Melo guy, man. They railroaded the crap out of Melo, man. But I want to see Melo. I agree with Tone 100%. I want to see Melo go in there and make it happen for sure.
Yeah, I got 2 players actually. Melo is one, and believe it or not, Russell Westbrook. I think people just really give him such a hard time. He's not a winner. He never won. I just think people really underestimate what it takes to average a triple-double in this league. I think, this is somebody who comes to work every day. He gives everything he has every game, every play, and it takes more than one player to win. People say, oh, this guy never won. You got to ask yourself, did they have the team to win? So did they have the team to win? And if they didn't win, was it that guy's fault? So I would like to see Russell Westbrook win one so people can get off his back. But number one is definitely Melo. That's my guy. I loved him when he was with the Knicks. When he left, he was out the league. I was like, man, he going to go out like Iverson went out and so many other players who still had game, but for whatever reason or not, they didn't get that opportunity to go out the way they wanted to. And when he got that opportunity in Portland, I was up watching Portland games, So for everybody that like our young cats, if they ever get traded, you can still follow them, That's what I did.
One guy I got to throw in there, my main guy, and I really believe he's going to have a good year. I want to see do so well is Mitchell Robinson. I am rooting for that young man. I'm a Mitchell Robinson dude. I just think that kid is going to, in a contract year, knowing he got to feed that pretty little baby that he just got. Mm-hmm. I want to see Mitchell Robinson tear it up this year. Listen, y'all been riding me out because of injuries. Y'all been playing me out. I'm one of the better defenders in this. I want to see Mitchell Robinson just tear it up, and I think the Knicks will be good to go.
Yeah, and speaking of Mitchell Robinson, do you think the contract that Robert Williams got from Boston sets the bar or I think he got 4 years, 54 million from Boston. Or do you think? I mean, I think the Knicks are gonna do what they do. I don't think that's gonna influence them. But the agent may say, "Hey, look at this guy. I think he only started in like 14 games or something like that. So, and he got that type of money. So, and Allen got 100 million. You know, Jared Allen out of Cleveland got 100 million. So, I'm not sure if we're gonna get out of here with 10 million. with $10 million for
Yeah,
Mitch.
that's a steal. And if somebody got a complaint or beef about that kind of contract,
But I don't think we're
must
gonna
be
get
crazy.
that.
Oh no, I don't either.
Oh,
But I mean, let me not say I don't either. I think ultimately it's going to depend on his play and his availability. I think if his availability is lacking, I think he has to take somewhat of a lesser deal. You know what I mean? Maybe a prove it year. Maybe it's some money, but it's 1 year. And you know what I mean? But I think ultimately we keep him, and I've said it 2 years in a row. I'm not concerned with the cost of what it is to keep him. I'm more concerned with his health than the cost.
right.
And I think that's going to be the determining factor anyway.
Yeah.
Pudge Nice said that Berman said they about to extend Mitch. Okay.
They should.
Yeah. And whose Mark said, Steph, Mitch is 44 for 4 years. If we can get him for 4 years, 44, I'm happy.
Right, 11 million. I think you know what? I think they sign Mitch a year from now or a trading deadline or whatever. If somebody out there they need to get them over the top, that's why that Nerlens Noel contract is so good, because that 10 million is so tradable. It's just because I think Dallas wanted them. 14th had wanted Nerlens Noel. So I think it's not a bad between him and Alex Burks and Fournier. That's $40 million. You can go get somebody out there who you really want, and all them contracts is movable, man. I love what the Knicks did, but I do think if they move Noel and bring Sims along the pipeline, so you got Mitch, Sims, and Taj. And a year from now, if they decide to move Noel to get a player who's really going to get them over the top, I think I don't see no problem with that. I really don't. I think that's a good movable contract for $10 million for Noel, and they all got them options. Teams would love to have them contracts.
Right.
So they love to have them for sure.
Because basically it's just next year.
Yep.
Basically it's just next year. So. Yeah, I know a lot of Knicks fans are divided on Mitch. Mitch is not that center. Sorry, what has Mitch done? I mean, I don't think he's 100 million. I mean, I think when you look at Jared Allen, I thought that was a lot, $100 million. And I like Jared Allen, actually. It's going to be interesting to see. I mean, I like centers who can defend that pick and roll and can get out on the perimeter and for a second or 2 or 3 seconds can hold those guys on the perimeter until the guards recover, and Mitch can do that. So that's valuable in today's NBA.
When I see Mitch start blocking 3-pointers and then I was like, yo, this guy is gonna lead the league in block threes, and he actually did that. Come on, from the center position,
right?
Like. And he's running out there getting them. It's not like he's guarding somebody on the perimeter and blocking a three. Nah, he's running to the 3-point shooter and blocking it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Rudy Gobert, $200 million. You got to give Mitch $13 million. I mean, you gave Rudy Gobert $200 million.
Okay. Berman said the Knicks are open to extending Mitch before the season as long as it's not crazy. I think I don't know who's representing Mitch at this point, right? He's changed so many times.
Yeah, Weinstein.
Okay, he's been playing for like pennies on the dollar for like the past I don't know how many years.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're gonna ask for a lot, and I think they're gonna enter free agency. And see what they can get from other teams. I would be shocked if he takes $11 million a year. If he does, I'm happy. But I would be shocked if he does.
If I'm Leon Rose, man, I'm making a phone call to my former employers and saying, listen, I need to find a way to sign this dude.
Oh, shit.
And then we could, you know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
Leon's gonna take care of him. I mean, he's proved it this offseason.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I'm gonna pay you off of what you do for me. So I don't think that's everybody kind of felt like we overpaid to bring back the guys we had. I don't think it's gonna be anything outrageous, but I think Mitch is gonna get paid, and I think it's gonna be reasonable, like a fair contract.
Yeah. If you give Noel $10 million, I cannot see why you got to who's the guy who's a better offensive rebounder. You can do the same thing he do on the defense and even
better.
I think he's more of a threat on the top more than I don't know, man. I think this cat 30.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah, he's young. I mean, he's like 23.
Yeah. I mean, if you giving Mitch 10, I mean, not Mitch, Noel 10, how much you gonna give Mitch? I think Mitch is better. I was okay with moving on from Noel, quite frankly. You know, he did have that great stretch where he was just like a defensive demon. But then he kind of came back down to earth. I mean, we look at his stats, you know, overall, you know, he was great. But when you watch him game to game, you know, not catching the ball, wasn't a lob threat all the time, consistently, you know, was about, can he catch it now or is he going to catch it this time? And his rebounding wasn't all that great. So if you're going to give him 10, you got to give Mitch at least starting at 15. You know, I mean, I don't think he's going to take 11. He probably going to look and say, you gave Noel 10, you're going to give me 11? Yeah. I don't know.
Noel held it down while you was rehabbing, my brother.
About Noel is a hard bump away from being out for a whole season too. I mean, he's frail, man. I mean, he's a frail dude. I mean, even in the playoffs, man, he was going down on them ankles. He was getting all
right.
And I think he played hurt a little bit too, out of necessity.
Yeah,
like we can't lose you too, bro.
Right. Out there drumming at Joel Embiid, the party over for him. It's over for him when they play.
Yeah,
be interesting, man. I hope Mitch have a good year, man. I really do. I think that kid 36 round draft pick, his rookie year, he was doing things I've never seen a lot of cats do.
But I mean,
oh my God, I was like, yo, this kid is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, let's see how he develops. I mean, I think he's still somewhat raw. I think he still needs to develop some, you know, definitely offensively as well. And who's Mark brings up a good point. Because of his injuries, his stock is down a little bit right now. So they may be, you know, be able to get him, you know, you could bring that to the negotiating table.
Absolutely.
Actually, and that helps the Knicks position. And then when you know you got somebody locked up 10 years, I mean 3 years, 10 million, because that third year is a team option. The Knicks choose it. They can keep them for 3 years. You could bring that to the negotiating table too. Like, you're not leaving us in a bind. We got a guy here who was doing it for us when your guy was out, and we already got him locked up for 3 years. So I think the Knicks are in good negotiating position, actually.
And that's the thing. You straight up tell Mitch, listen, we overpaid this guy because he held the fort down when you couldn't. So yeah, if we offer you 12, maybe we think you're worth more than that, but we don't know how long you're gonna be healthy. You know what I mean? Or if this is gonna be a recurrent thing. So I think you could bring all that to the table.
Yeah. One thing I'm happy about real quick before you get off, Mitch, one thing you think about mentally, he had time last year to sit back and just master the NBA from the bench. He probably way stronger than he was, because, you know, he was like, you know what, all I can do is sit back and master the game. You know what I mean? And I think that's going to be important going into this year, because he probably learned so much stuff. Because when you're playing in the NBA all game, one night you play, the next night you don't, it's like you never get a chance to practice or get your mind right. But Mitch Robinson just learn, you know what I mean? So I think he probably learned so much from seeing what Todd and Noel were doing last year. I think he's so excited coming to the season. That's why I'm rooting for him, because I think he really mentally
Right.
and injured and sitting on the bench. So I'm hoping that plays a part. For the Knicks team overall this year, I think Mitch going to be a different beast this year.
Listen, the Knicks can be, if everything gels, it could be a 4 seed. If it doesn't, I still think they make the playoffs. I still think the probably 7, 8, if things don't gel and injuries and what have you, I think they're going to still be okay. But if everything gels, this team, I mean, think about last year. We were better than the sum of our individual parts. If that happens again this year, wow.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But anyway, Devon, Tony, any last thoughts before we get out of here?
Divine, I'm glad to see you back on. Come back again, man. Come back and hit Knicks and Bruises up too.
Yes, sir.
I gotta get your schedule and I'll jump on yours. Queen, thanks for having me again.
Of course.
Shout out to the chat. Yo, Black, it's time.
Yeah. We're gonna do next week. We're gonna do Boston and one other team. I'll figure out who that team is. I think it's good to go through the roster because we just like, oh, look, these are all the changes we made. We're gonna do this, that, the other. But then when you look at other teams' rosters, like, okay, they made some changes too, and you get an opportunity to see it and talk about it. So we'll do Boston and another team next week. Thank you, Devon. Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Sam. Thank you to everybody that support the Queen's Court. I'm having the time of my life. I'm having a ball right now, really, on this show, talking about, a team that I love for a long time, right? Since the 80s, so get an opportunity to come on and talk about them every week is really a blessing. So I appreciate that. And just what we're doing here at the MBK network, there'll be other shows coming on, other content creators. We're going to be doing live podcasts, throughout the city, hopefully in different states. That's on the table. If we don't do this year, it'll be for years to come. We really about fan involvement. That's what we talk about. How can we get the fans more involved? That's what the draft show was about. That's what, when we do hopefully it'll be a draft weekend, a reunion as time goes on. That'll be great. We're going to we're going to the opening night. That's up there in the chat. It's pinned to the top. So for those who want to come, meet us, hang out with us, come on. This is what we're about. We're about the fans. So, there'll be more opportunities for you guys to see us as well. And with that, we out. As we say at MBK, spread love. As Biggie would say, it's the Brooklyn way. All right.